Hey, what's up guys? Alright, so chapter 322 is out, and honestly, with how hyped I was from reading the leaks when it came out Wednesday night, when I read the chapter today, Friday as I'm recording this video, I wasn't as hyped due to the fact that, save for maybe 1 or 2 pages in the middle of the chapter, I already knew beat for beat what was going to happen in the chapter from reading the leaks. And them's the breaks when it comes to going over leaks for videos. It does spoil you ahead of time to what's going to happen in the chapter, so when the chapter comes out, no matter how hyped you are from the leaks, you're going to lose some of that hypeness because you already know what's going to happen, especially when you have translated pages. Now, that being said, Yami showing up at the end of the chapter, which by the way, I'm assuming anyone who is watching this video has either seen the leaks themselves or has read the chapter already, but Yami showing up at the end of the chapter, with Yami, Asta, and Mariel Yona being my top 3 favorite characters, with Asta being number 1, and Mariel Yona and Yami being constantly tied for 2, that is definitely the hypest moment for me of this entire arc so far, seeing him finally get back involved after, it's been like, what, a year and a half, 2 years since the last time we actually got to see Yami in action. So finally seeing my man get involved in this fight is definitely a hype moment for me. Even though I did lose a little bit of the hypeness from the spoilers spoiling it ahead of time, I'm still hyped to see him actually in action at the end of the chapter. And I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly what he ends up doing in this fight in the next chapter. And you know what? It's not only Yami. Nock also gets involved in this fight in the beginning of the chapter as it opens up. And honestly, as I said in my spoiler video, up until this chapter, I honestly forgot Nock was even there. With everything that's been popping off for these past like 3 to 4 chapters, I've honestly forgotten pretty much everyone besides the characters I've been hoping to get re-involved in this fight are actually there. Like Noelle and the Spirit Guardians. Those are the only two sets of characters that I truly remembered until this chapter are here in the Space Kingdom. But you know what? I really do dig the fact that Nock is showing up in this chapter to help out against Lucifero, because what happens to Nock in this chapter with him basically getting almost killed by the end of it, I think this definitely has to put to bed the idea that Nock might be a traitor. Because I know that's been kind of like the theory going around since his introduction, that Nock might not be on the up and up, and at first I did kind of agree with that a little bit. Like when he was first introduced, I was like, alright, this guy's kind of suspicious. I'm not sure if I can trust him or not. I'm not sure if he's actually on the good guy's side. But after his fight with Clover and how he almost died during that fight, that suspicion, in my opinion, got put to bed. Especially after we got his backstory when we found out what happened to him in the past with his brother Morgan. I was kind of like, alright, there's no way this guy's a traitor. He's definitely on the up and up. He's learned from his mistakes, and we can definitely trust him. But I do know there were some people who were still kind of thinking, alright, maybe he might be scheming something, I kind of give him credit. The idea that maybe he might be using this whole Tree of Creep ritual to find a way to bring back his brother, that's kind of valid. I can kind of agree with the idea of that being something that he was probably planning on doing, or the possibility of him planning on doing, but definitely with this chapter with him almost dying fighting against Lucifero in order to protect Asta, I definitely say 100% he's trustworthy. There's no suspicion left at all that anyone could have. Now getting into the actual events of the chapter, it picked up where the last one left off of Asta walking towards the battlefield, and right in front of him, right next to him, shows up Nock saying, hey listen, you're in no condition to fight. And pretty much Nock knows that the only way they can have a hope of defeating Lucifero is by using Asta's anti-magic. So he says, alright listen, if you're going to go in there anyway, I'm going to walk with you because you can't fight alone. And this moment in the beginning of the chapter, I want to say on page 2, when the two of them are standing side by side getting ready to go into the fight, that moment kind of gave me heavy vibes back to the moment between Asta and Yami when the two of them teamed up against Dante. Although not as epic because, we had hundreds, like 200 plus chapters building up the relationship between Asta and Yami to get to that point, while vice versa, we haven't had anywhere near as much time building up a bond between these two characters. That being said though, it was actually still a pretty nice shot. Then we transition over to the fight between Mariel Yona and Yuno versus Lucifero, and that fight's actually going a lot longer than I thought it would. They're actually contending with him more than I thought they would. I honestly thought the chapter would actually open up with the two of them being defeated pretty easily, but they're actually putting up a good fight. They're not doing any damage to him, but they're actually annoying him enough to where he's actually struggling against them. Now, this does bring up the question, why is he having such a hard time in this chapter fighting against Yuno and Mariel Yona, when 2 chapters ago he was able to easily body all 7 of the captains, including Mariel Yona? And the only reason I can think of is because of speed. And Yuno actually kind of supports this idea in the chapter when he says that if Lucifero lands 1 good punch on either of them, then they're done for. Like literally 1 hit will take them out of the fight. And the only reason why he hasn't been able to land that hit is because the 2 characters are just too fast for him. So yeah, that's the reason why this fight has lasted as long as it did, because of the fact that their speed stats are like a 5, while his is a 3. And I honestly think that this fight would have lasted a little bit longer in this chapter if it wasn't for the fact that Mariel Yona's body started to fall apart on her, due to Hellfire Incarnate becoming just too powerful, turning into just pure mana. And actually we have a shot where her arm actually kind of falls apart when she goes in for a punch against Lucifero. and it only took that one moment of her being distracted by her body turning into mana for Lucifer to land a hit on her, knocking her out, and then once she's down, he's able to move his focus solely onto Yuno, and then he's able to take him down as well pretty easily. Oh, and I should also mention that during this part of the chapter, he actually calls on the second gate devil to take over the fight against those two so he can go focus on Asta, and we actually end up getting his name dropped in this chapter, which is Adramelech, which if you actually go to the actual tree pop diagram, that is actually the name of the second gate's devil. So if you actually look at this diagram, we can pretty accurately guess exactly which devils will be coming out of which gates, although Megakula is not listed as one of the devils on this diagram, so we do have to kind of think about whose spot on this list she would have been taking. Also, real interesting about Adramelech in this chapter, he's very defiant when it comes to Lucifer, because Lucifer gives him a direct order to come and take over the fight for him, and he just kind of says, nah, I'll pass. And he's very flippant when it comes to Lucifer's orders and his, attitude towards them. So it makes me wonder what exactly is going on with the hierarchy when it comes to these devils, because we were led to believe that Lucifer is the king of all devils, the most powerful one out of all of them, and yet we have Adramelech in this chapter so easily defying him without any fear. So it makes me wonder, are all these like high tier devils, are all the devils that actually work on be coming out of the gates, are they actually on par with each other power wise? No, that can't be, because we already saw that Lilith and Nama, even when fused, stood no chance against Asta in this devil union. And yet Lucifer was so easily able, even at only half manifestation, was able to easily defeat Asta in his devil union. So they can't be the same level power wise. So it really has me wondering what's going on with the power dynamic between these two characters, and I'm hoping that if we actually do get more arcs with them, that we actually get to see exactly what's going on with the relationship between these two characters and the reason why Adramelech is so easily able to defy Lucifer in this chapter. And then Nox shows up in a combo devil union using two devils, which unfortunately is not all four like I was hoping for. But he shows up using the shadow magic and actually uses it to basically trap Lucifer by using two like dragon dog heads to hold him in place with some chains. And basically the plan here was that he was going to hold Lucifer in place and Asa was going to come in and attack him with one hit, basically hoping that one hit will kill him. But Lucifer was able to easily knock himself out of the binding, and then he goes in to attack Asta immediately, and then Nox actually jumps in and tries to block the attack from Lucifer, and pretty much that one hit pretty much KOs Nox. Like, Nox is pretty much down for the count, and he knows that after the next hit that Lucifer lands, he's going to end up dying, which Lucifer is going in for another punch. So pretty much in this moment, Nox is actually saying, hey Morgan, I'm coming to see you very soon, because he thinks he's actually going to die in this moment trying to save Asta. And then we get the end of the chapter where we get our boy Yami showing up and blocking the attack from Lucifer, which by the way, I did not mention this in the leaks because I didn't actually notice it, but the sword that Yami is using in this chapter is seemingly made of wood. So more than likely, William is also up because more than likely William gave him that sword. But we see him showing up at the end of the chapter saying, hey Nox, what the hell are you doing? And this was actually kind of a nice little reunion between these two because like Yami says in the chapter, it's been a long time since the last time they saw each other. So, I'm actually looking forward to seeing their interaction in the next chapter if they actually have a moment to sit down and interact. Because as we know, Nox, as he says, he hates Yami. So I'm wondering if he's actually going to show animosity towards Yami the next time the two of them actually have a chance to talk, or if he's going to thank him for saving his life. But anyway guys, that's all that happened in this week's chapter. Now I'm actually looking forward to chapter 323, because I'm assuming that in the beginning of the chapter, we're going to get some kind of quick flashback to a few minutes prior to the ending of this chapter, to where we're actually going to get to see exactly how Yami got back up, because the last time we saw him, Vanessa said he was on the very verge of dying and he was getting weaker and weaker by the second. So it makes me wonder, how is he up right now? And the only reason I can think of is that maybe William's not as damaged as Yami is, and maybe William's actually able to heal him, because the only other healer that was there right now, as far as we're aware of, is Mimosa, and as we saw at the end of the last chapter, she ran out of mana, so there's no way she healed him. Now, maybe there's the possibility that he used a magic tool, like maybe one of the Black Bulls were able to get back up and use a magic tool to heal him up. Or another possibility is that Vanessa was somehow able to use Rogue to basically reverse all his damage. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but that's a possibility. But anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I really do hope you all enjoyed it. Comment down below what you guys thought about the chapter, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. But anyway, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.